But some people may need to get a little bit of a boost with themselves rather. And tonight, my next guest is all of those things to help you get back on track throughout the pandemic and beyond. And that is the amazing Dora Carpenter. She is a professional grief coach. Is that right, Dora?
That is correct.
All right, Dora. So you, with this title, we wanted to talk, because we talked a little bit about how being a grief coach is not the same as mental health coach, right?
That is correct. There is a difference, Samantha. The field of coaching is still relatively new. Grief coaching, we like to say, is newer than new. So it's important that individuals know the difference. Coaching, I'll tell you what it is and what it isn't. It is not, and it does not replace traditional professional counseling, therapy, or mental health services.
Okay.
It's more of a non-therapeutic, it's solution-focused or forward-moving based. So what we do is we work with the clients to help them to move from pain to peace, heartbreak to happiness, and grief to gratitude in the shortest time possible. But we don't go back and try to determine why they are the way they are, why they grieve the way they grieve. So we don't go back into the past. We take them from wherever they are right now, whatever emotions they're feeling right now, resulting from grief is unique for them. So we take them from where they are at that point A, and then we journey with them to take them through that grief journey and travel with them to help them to get to a place or a transition where they can find meaning and purpose in their life going forward.
And you know, Dora, as I listen to you talk about that, you said from heartbreak to happiness, from grief to gratitude, and taking someone through a grief journey. I want to talk about, because I love all of those, and I want to touch those as well. What are the stages of grief? Because some of us may be experiencing grief right now. We don't even know how to channel it. We don't know you know what I'm saying? This is a rough time for a lot of people. So what are some stages of grief?
It's funny that you asked that, Samantha, because we are so familiar with that term, stages of grief and phases of grief. And our program, we don't use that term. We don't use phases or stages.
Okay.
So it's funny you asked that. But let me share with you why. Each individual is unique. You have your own DNA, your own fingerprint. So your grief journey is going to be unique. There's no right way to grieve. There's no wrong way to grieve. There's no SOP or standard operating procedure. So if I say to a client, well, stage 1 is shock, stage 2 is bargaining, stage 3 is, and they're coming to me because they may just feel a sense of anger, or they may just feel a sense of relief, then their response is, well, Dora, am I grieving incorrectly? Because you said first stage this, second stage this.
Right.
So we like to take it from, again, an individual and personal approach to say, what emotions are you feeling right now?
Ah, okay, because
rather than box them in.
To this is level 1 grief, this is level 2. Are you a level 1 or a level 2? Yeah, you don't want to put, I like that. Right. Because we'll put somebody and I'll be like, I am at level 6. I'm at my end. You know, somebody, they could come at you like that and be like, oh, okay, well, maybe you should have came, we were on level 1. But again, everybody, like you said, has their own level of grief. What are some of the most common things, though, that you've been seeing that people are grieving? Is it like a loss of a loved one or just loss of themselves during this time?
And yeah, the spectrum of loss is huge. It's just huge. And right now, with the situation that we're in, losses, there are myriad of losses. Of course, we know, there are tremendous deaths from COVID. There's loss of jobs, finances, homes, loss of relationships. There's suicide, there's murder. But then aside from that, there's loss of self. Right. There's loss of confidence, that because of so much uncertainty, which brings on additional stress, anxiety. So the spectrum of loss is huge. We can't put it all into one box and say it fits that particular category.
You know, and that right there, like you said, the grief spectrum is large. And, you know, we could talk about COVID has just been a thing within itself. But I wanted to know, has your workload increased during this time? Because I would think that grief is it's not just specialized to COVID. Because a lot of people, that's just a natural emotion that you experience. But has it increased? However,
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The voicemail is full.
Well, thank you for calling me back. Right. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's because of the fear, because of the uncertainty. You know, there are moms that are staying home and they need to go to work, but they have to stay home with the children. All of that's grief. All of it's involved in that ball of grief. So I tell our coaches, and we have grief coaches throughout the U.S. and some international, that now is the time for us to be available for those calls. Now, what we can't do, Samantha, is we can't change that situation right now. But what we can do as coaches and as grief coaches is to offer hope, offer encouragement, offer support.
Yeah.
But more importantly, what people need more than anything else is they need that safe, non-judgmental person to simply listen to them without trying to fix them, without trying to diagnose them, and without trying to cure them.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people think that they're personal therapists out here now. You know, they think they can, like, you know, I've even listened to, I tell some of my friends, well, this is what you should do. No, just, no.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You're like, oh, no.
Absolutely. And that's what happens when our clients come to us. It's funny because usually we're the first person to shut up and listen to them without saying exactly what you just said. No, do this or fix this, or this is what I did. And see, with grief, it's a matter of education. It's still the elephant in the room. We live in a grief avoidant society. Yeah. It's a subject that no one wants to talk about, but everyone needs to hear. And so when someone is experiencing a loss, a death, or another loss, we haven't been taught or trained in what to say and what not to say. More importantly, what not to say. So we'll say things such as, oh, I understand how you feel.
No, you
don't. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
No one could possibly understand. Or, well, this is what happened to me, and what happened to me, I did this when that happened to me. Well, that was your journey and your unique path. So that's the benefit of coaching, to listen to that individual. We like to say, give themselves permission to grieve. You know, just spit it all out, vomit it, regurgitate all over us, and let it out. And then we help them to determine, because inside most of the time, you already know the path forward. But we're there to help you, not to give you the path forward, because with grief, we're going to be honest with you. It's going through the wilderness. There are going to be some wrong turns. There's going to be some crooked paths. Sometimes there's some dead ends. Sometimes you feel like you're going to fall. You're just on the ground, and there's no way out.
You know, like you said, Dora,
go ahead.
Grief avoidance society. We avoid it. We avoid talking about this. But when somebody comes to talk to you, and this is one of my favorite things, some people, they listen to respond and not listen to understand. So, you know, it's like, let me tell you, before you say, well, this is what I did. Like you said, I don't want to know what you did. I just want you to listen. So this is comforting to know that this is offered with what you do, being a grief counselor. I love this. Grief coach, rather.
And
yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yay. See, I got it now. I got it. Yes.
Yeah, and again, it's so important.
Yes.
You know, it's funny. There was a recent study done, and to me, it's just alarming. And it was done on grief education as far as medical students. Do you know that even medical students don't have a required course in grief education?
Really?
It's offered as an elective.
As an elective, when it should be what do they call them? Required courses. Is that what they are?
Yeah,
I didn't been out of school.
Exactly. Either a prerequisite or a part of their curriculum.
That's where I was going. Right, part of the curriculum. Or you could tell who's been out of college a minute. But yeah. But
I love you.
Yeah. I told you we're going to have fun. It's a conversation. But the elective, it's an elective to teach something. Nah, because see, physicians, I think they're part therapists, if you will, or counselors. If you will. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and they deal with grief all the time. But again, it's something, it's the elephant in the room. And that is why we do and we say all the wrong things, because no one has told us that that's not helpful to say to someone who's grieving. But the reality is, what's inevitable? Death is going to knock on every door at some point. It's going to place itself on every calendar. You can't change it. You can't delete it. You can't hit the button and say postpone it, come back another day. You can't not open the door. It's going to give you membership into that club that you never asked to join.
Yeah, wow.
So with more education, then you're able to, you can't prepare for it. But we feel that the more that we can expose people to talk about it, it's going to help to eliminate some of those more painful emotions, such as guilt and regret. We live in this fast-paced, hurry-up-and-wait society, so, we have all this to-do list that we've got to accomplish and things to do, and we don't think about the fragility of life. And I tell our coaches that one thing positive in our industry about the pandemic is that it has taught us about, or made us aware, I should say, of the fragility of life.
If that's not the truth, if that's not the truth, Dora, I was saying it has taught us to slow down, to the fragility of life, like you said, and just to live, if you will, just live. Yes. I worked in the cemetery for 10 years, and the reason that led me to I was
where
getting ready
I
to
am.
ask you, now that's interesting. Let's go back. You were not at the funeral home, but at the cemetery. Okay.
Yeah, at the cemetery. That's right. Sometimes arranging for 20 burials in one day.
Wow.
So I've worked with hundreds of families, but what led me to this is, Samantha, I felt as though after listening to so many countless stories, I felt like I buried as many hopes and dreams and unfulfilled wishes in the cemetery as I buried bodies and cremated remains. And that's sad.
Yeah.
Because we don't live. We don't live. And it's only when we're standing at that grave site that we say, if only I had, I wish that I could have, we were supposed to, he was supposed to do. And the fragility of life hits us for that 2 to 3 day period. But then after that, we go back to business as usual.
You go right back. Yeah, you go right back to doing the same old on your schedule and not shifting.
So the pandemic has forced us to kind of realize, because the fragility of life is there, but living life, slowing down, we appreciate family more. We're forced to spend more time with family now. So,
forced, because a lot of people, they find out who they family, who they are, And even in relationships, you find out, I really date you. Woo, because you got to be in the house with them. So we talked about that a lot before, too. A lot of people like, I want to break up with my sister. No, it's your sister. You can't do it. Y'all just in the house with each other. So, But that's very interesting. So working at the actual cemetery, that led you into this path of being a grief counselor. And why is that? Is that you wanted to just help people to live a little bit more? Is that kind of what your driving force was, Dora?
What happened? Well, to a degree, but when we worked there, we also, Samantha, visit the families in their homes a few weeks after the service just to make sure we did everything that we were supposed to do. And that's when I realized that families needed more help then, after the phone stopped ringing, after people stopped coming to the home, after the chickens stopped arriving at the door, and the house was quiet, the bed was empty, and the reality of the death actually set in. And so I felt the need to help them more. So I researched and I went to management and said, we've got to provide some type of grief support.
Okay.
And after presenting that, I was told that that's not our job.
Oh, wow.
And that was a wake-up call for me, because to me that meant we really don't care about the families beyond them coming in and making arrangements. So actually, I just took their no. I'm grateful that they told me no.
Yeah, you
to
got
be honest.
sometimes. I love a no sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I love it. Okay.
Yes.
No,
yes,
not here
I took
then.
their no.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I made it my yes. And I just went ahead and got the training. And I just started offering free grief support at the local libraries here in the district, in D.C. And one thing just led to another. And now at this stage in my life, as I practice retirement,
Yes.
I said, well, what else can I do so that we still can impact so many individuals who are grieving? And that's when I decided to create a program to train and certify other grief coaches so that we can have a bigger impact in helping individuals, helping families. Now we're even going into and helping workplaces create compassionate and grief-friendly workplaces, because they haven't been educated either. They don't know what that individual employee is facing when they return to the workplace. They don't know what to say and what not to say.
Well,
Remember,
I want to get into that a little bit, because and that's important too. And I wanted to give like the top 5 or maybe top 3, because I know we probably a little bit, we just gotta just watch our time here. But I'm interested in this because I want to know, because people know they could say some things to you. Oh my goodness! But let's get back to you made their no your yes. You better be a black woman out here making these moves. I'm so proud of you.
well, thank you.
Yes.
We have to. We can't. We have to. No means something. And no means something. And if you have a passion, it was my desire to help those individuals. I saw them hurting. And so if one person said, well, no, you can't help them, there's got to be a way. There's always a way. And I believe in the magic of thinking big. So if I can see it and I can dream it, then I can be it and I can achieve it.
The magic of thinking big. And I love that, because I'm a big thinker and everybody doesn't share that. But when you get around people that share that big vision, you roll with them.
Ooh, it's powerful.
Yes. Nothing like it. Nothing like it, you know, because some people think medium. I don't want medium. I don't need medium, because medium could turn back into small because they scared. You know what I'm saying? They get scared when they medium think. You want to think big.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And if you've been given the gift to do that, then do it.
Yes.
Use it. It's your obligation to do that.
I thoroughly agree with that, like 1,000% agree. When you've been given a gift, you know it, roll with it, don't sit on it. Especially, that's what another thing COVID has taught me too. Just keep it going, you know, especially if you got that gift. So, new projects. Now, you said that you were training other grief counselors.
Coaches.
I'm so sorry. I was ready before. Grief coaches. Sorry, Dora. Oops. No.
That's okay. We just don't want to confuse it, or, you know.
So, you're training other grief coaches to carry on, you know, because again, that's interesting again to hear that they didn't even offer that, but that's not their job. Literally at cemeteries, they just doing what they gotta do, you know.
Right.
Now let's dig.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's dig and dig, help, you know, hug and go. So, you know, unfortunately, but again, now you're training other grief coaches to do this work. Okay, and is everything DC based, or are you getting more nationwide?
Oh no, we now have. I've been doing this for 3 years now, so it's still a baby project that's growing. But we have, I want to say, about 150 coaches, and they're in 31 states. I do believe I know we have 4 in the state of Illinois, and I know we have 1 in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
But yay! But we're in 31 states, and we're also have coaches in the Cayman Islands, Brazil, Doha, Qatar, and someone will get angry with me because I forgot the other international territory. But we have coaches in 4 international territories.
They're gonna remember. They heard everything else in this conversation. They're gonna remember that. No. She didn't remember. No, but don't charge it to Dora's heart, please. Don't charge it to her heart.
No, it's Samantha's fault. It's Samantha's fault.
It's my fault. Okay, I'll take the bait. I'll take the blame. I will take it because you're doing amazing things, and I don't think that they will really be upset for you not remembering. However, just know that this is becoming more nationally spread. This is something that we need. Hopefully, a lot of people will take this past the pandemic and really latch on to grief coaches, because again, this is important. Now, you said like going back to work, people are getting back. Some people are going back to the office, even on some of these Zoom meetings. What not to say? And what are some of the most common things that people say when people experience a loss?
I understand how you feel.
Yeah.
And no one could possibly understand how you feel. So let's not say that anymore. And then so many of the myths. Oh, you've got to get over that. Time passes. Time heals all wounds. And one of the big ones is that we don't do is we don't mention the name of the deceased, because it's not our fault. None of these are our fault, but it's because we think that it will upset the person. Mm-hmm. So we genuinely shy away from that. And the exact opposite is true.
Okay, that's interesting.
They want to hear the name, especially in the workplace. We spend most of our awake time at work, so we've developed friendships, bonds, extended families. Over Monday morning coffee, you've talked about the weekend, so they know your family members. So when they come back and you don't mention their name, it seems as if you've forgotten all about them. But they want to hear. So it doesn't upset them for you not mentioning their name. But there are things that you can say instead. So, for instance, if I say to you, Samantha, I understand how you feel because when I lost my mom, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. I go on. And inside you're speaking, saying, she doesn't have a clue how I feel. Yeah. But if I say to you, Samantha, I can't imagine how you feel. I'm here to support you in any way that I can. And that leaves Samantha open to share if she wishes to share. We'll say, oh, that's terrible. Tell me what happened. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But what you're doing is you're forcing that person to share. They may not be willing, especially in cases of suicide. They may not be ready yet to share. So let's try to refrain from saying, tell me what happened.
Oh, gosh. Yes.
I know. It's so many. But again, it's because no one has ever told us.
Well, we're telling you tonight on WVON here on October 1st, get your month started by knowing, get this fourth quarter, I know people sometimes, we're not laughing, but sometimes people just really don't know what to say. Like, I'll take, for instance, I've lost a considerable amount of weight within this year, and I'm happy. It's not just me losing the weight, but I lost like a lot of mental stuff that I was dealing with. So people say, well, you look good. No, I feel good too. That's the difference. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I had another friend, well, if you lose any more, I'm gonna have to, give you a burger. I'm like, but if I was out of shape, would you have said, I don't even think she meant any harm, but it was just like, come on, like. Mm-hmm. But if I was out of shape, would you say, girl, you better get in the gym, So it's kind of like you darn if you do, darn if you don't. So I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I just think a lot of people should just take courses. Is there a course for what not to say? That should be a course.
It's funny because when I used to do presentations, of course, grief presentations, but the most requested was, Dora, can you please come and do that thing about what to say and what not to say?
Really?
Yeah, it's because we really don't know. Because, see, it's not just the example that you just gave. It's not what we say.
It's how we say it.
It's how the person perceives what we say.
Oh, not even how you say it, but how the person perceives. Okay, gotcha.
Yes, yes. So we have to think about what we say and how it's going to be perceived by that person.
Okay. How do you do that? Do you stop? I don't think some people think before they speak.
They don't. Yeah. They don't. Because, again, they aren't aware of it. But you know what? I'll tell you something, Samantha. After your listeners listen to the segment, they'll think more. The next time they open to say, I understand how you feel, they'll say, oh, I remember Samantha talking about that, and that's not helpful.
People,
so I won't say that.
This is a PSA tonight. Yes, to educate. You got to educate the folks. This is what we do. This is why I bring great guests like Dora Carpenter, grief coach, on the line with me to talk about these kind of things. Because again, sometimes people just really they don't know. They just don't know. So, oh my goodness,
it's not our fault. It's not our fault. We mean well. You know, we mean well when we say to you, you know, that we understand, because the circumstances may be similar.
Yeah.
You know, I may have lost my child to gun violence and you lost your child to gun violence. So the situation is very similar. So I mean well when I say, oh, I know how you feel. Because when my son was shot, blah, blah, but we don't. We don't know the relationship, the intimate relationship that mom shared with her son. And sometimes we don't know the relationship at the time of the loss,
because it could have been
not always positive.
Okay, been like, yeah, that was my son. Yep. Okay, you know,
absolutely.
You got to be careful.
You're so funny.
Well, yeah, that was my brother. Yeah. So, no, but you really, I'm making a joke, but you really do have to be careful. You do. You have to be careful. And hopefully.
So sometimes little is better. The less you say is better. When you say, you know, I offer my condolences, or in your case, after the weight loss, I would say, if I'm a supportive friend, see, there's a difference too.
What? Come on.
Who's saying it to you? Is it a support? Is it somebody that's in your, I like to say, your circle of influence? Those, you know, those positive, like-minded people that support you. And when they respond, then you know it's authentic, you know it's genuine, and you know they have your best interest. How are you feeling? How are you feeling with the weight loss? Is there anything I can do to support you? Or if they say, Samantha, that looks good, you're looking good, then you know, because of who said that, and that's in your support group, that it's well received. So, you know, that's a whole nother area when we talk about
you see, I got quiet because I'm like, we just got to bring you back on the show, Coach Dora, because yeah, that's a whole nother.
Yeah. We have to look. Sometimes we have to prune. You know, we have an exercise in our coaching program. It's called the pruning project.
Yeah, it ain't just for flowers. Come on now.
At areas that we need to prune, and sometimes it's negative people that we just need to prune, and so that we can move forward on our own grief journey. We can't get to a place of gratitude if we're still going to entertain and hold things that bring us negative energy or bring us down.
That's right. You really have to watch. And that's something that this new year, I just entered the 40 Club. And that is something that I'm learning more. And we got to prune that circle. I did, people.
Yes.
Another nugget for y'all tonight. Another one. We're giving out lots of nuggets with the grief coach, who's also specializing in common sense coaching. No, let me quit. No. You know, let me stop. I just want somebody to stop.
You're bad.
Not common sense, but
just wisdom.
We don't say wisdom. Yeah. Okay. No. Grief coach Dora Carpenter. I've enjoyed us talking tonight. So you have a book, right, on Amazon, The ABCs of Grief.
Yeah, there. I don't know how many now. There's several books. Yeah, on Amazon.
Oh, wow. Well, which one do you want to? Because I know we've been talking about the grief, from grief to gratitude. So that's one of your ones that people can grab right now. And I'm looking at it. I'm going to give me a copy. But no, seriously, I'm not going to say you're specializing in common sense. We're just giving out wisdom nuggets tonight, everybody. It's about wisdom and just how you are living your day-to-day life. And I thank you so much just for your time, Coach Dora.
Sure. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. It's been fun because grief doesn't have to be sad. Why do we grieve, Samantha? We grieve because we loved.
That is so important to know. You say we grieve because we loved. So, my goodness. And again, what would you tell somebody right now who's going through grief and they might not even realize it?
It could very well be unresolved grief, which unresolved grief affects every other area of your life. So sometimes you don't know that the way you're acting, the anxiety, the stress, the moodiness, is related to unresolved grief. And especially as African Americans, we tend to feel that we have this strong gene in our DNA. We have to be strong, we put on a superhero cape, so we have to hold it in, or we don't want to be stereotyped, so we don't seek help. So I say the most important thing that you can do is give yourself permission to grieve. Give yourself permission to allow all of the emotions, no matter how painful, because if you can't feel it and experience it, then we can't move beyond it. You can't move to that place of happiness, of peace, of gratitude. So give yourself permission to experience all the painful emotions.
And it's okay. It's okay.
And it's okay. Yes. It's okay. Those emotions are really just a normal and natural response to loss. You're not broken. You don't need to be fixed. You don't need to be cured. You just need to grieve so that you can move through that. And we like to say, get to that transformative space where you can hold that loss, whatever it is, because grief is never eradicated. You don't get rid of it. You experience it. So you can hold that loss and your new sense of normalcy in the same space so that you can birth that new springtime. Those new leaves on the tree, that new weight loss that you've got going on.
Come on now. Yes. I love all of that. Now, but my last question, and I was meant to tackle this earlier. What's the difference between grief and depression, or are they on the same wavelength?
No, grief can, if not addressed, can become, as I say, unresolved grief. And statistics even say it can take 5 to 8 years to recover from a devastating loss, such as the loss of a spouse. We say it doesn't have to take that long. But if it's not addressed, it can affect us emotionally, physically, spiritually, and you can spiral down into a place of isolation, a place of depression. So we always say, if you feel that you're at that point, if there are any signs or symptoms that you feel, I just don't want to be here anymore, or I want to harm myself or harm someone else, then of course we recommend that you not only seek help, but you use that hotline, use that National Suicide Hotline. It's there for help. Help is always available. You don't have to suffer in silence, regardless of the situation, regardless of the intensity of the emotions. Help is always available.
I love that. Help is always available. Just recognize it, and then, and again, it's okay.
Yes.
It is okay. It is okay.
Yes, it's what's the book? It's okay to not be okay.
Yes. I hope more people embrace that and take some great nuggets from what you and I talked about, and just keep living, people. Keep living. Oh, my goodness.
Yes. My mantra is everything in life is temporary, including life itself. So decide to say yes to the gift of now. That's all we have, Samantha, now. So decide to say yes to the gift of now.
Well, let's say it together. Me and you, we're going to say the word that starts with the letter Y on count of 3. Me and you, grief coach Dora Carpenter. 1, 2, 3. We have to say what to life? Yes. Yes. All right. Yes. All right. We're going to say it together. You ready to say it together with me? Then we got, okay, so on the count of 3, we got to say what? 1, 2, 3. Yes. To life.
She's singing.
That's okay. Yeah, I can't sing. I just gave it a little bit of a harmony. That's about as much as you're going to get. No, I love your energy. I'm so glad that you and I were able to talk. I'm so glad your voicemail wasn't full to talk to me, because this was meant to be. Grief coach.
Yes.
Yes, grief coach Dora Carpenter. How can people find you if they want to get in touch with you personally?
Sure. The website is FromGriefToGratitude.com.
Love it. FromGriefToGratitude.com. And then if they have any questions or want to maybe set up an appointment, they can do it on your site as well, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Grief Coach Dora Carpenter, I want to thank you so much for calling in tonight to talk to me on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. When you come to Chicago, come hang out with me in the studio. When life permits, I would love to see you here in person.
I would love to. Sounds
Yes.
like fun.
Girl, we would have so much fun. I learned some nuggets tonight, too. And thank you so much for that. We're going to have to do another call for the what not to say. Because I think that's a whole segment in itself.
Yes, it is. Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you so much, Samantha.
Thank you, Dora Carpenter. Grief Coach Dora Carpenter, you are amazing. Keep being amazing and keep saying yes.
More from Samantha Thomas coming up on the Talk of Chicago.